Okay, a number of people have asked about inserts. What is an insert? An insert basically is a steel section that's laid into the titanium spring, which actually forms the contact of the lock, so that the steel contacts the steel knife. And I'm going to show this in different angles. There are a number of ways of putting inserts into titanium handles. This one slides in and out. I decided a long time ago that I just don't like screws, especially when they're that small, to hold something as tiny as that. So what I did is decided to use a dovetail on the insert. I don't know if you can see that. That might be a little bit hard to see.
We're
There.
in very close, we can see.
That's a dovetailed insert. Now that's steel, that's hardened steel. And I've shown this to a number of people, and they always ask me, what is that little hole in the back there? Well, that little hole in the back is when the insert is locked in. Right now I just have it sliding back and forth, but I lock it in by hammering just a little bit on the edges of the dovetail so I can tap it in with a hammer. And if I didn't have that little hole there, I wouldn't be able to get it out. So I made a little tool. Is that visible at all?
Yep.
Okay. Made a little tool that fits right into that hole, and I can tap it with a hammer and slide that dovetail insert right out.
And can you tell us a little bit about the jig that's holding it, the parts of that jig?
Well, once again, this is my corda, and I need to have the spring raised, so I have a tube of brass underneath. Hold it down with a clamp. Holds in like that. Now this is actually a jig. Everything I've shown up to now is a fixture. What is the difference? A fixture holds the work while it's being processed, while you're working on it, while you're actually doing something. That's a fixture. A jig holds the work when the parts are being assembled. So this is actually a jig. This is actually a fixture. That's the difference. So I do have this fixture, solid micarta. I have a pin for the pivot hole. This fits in here. And a tube of brass which comes only partially over the spring, so that when I set it down and put the lock on it, the spring part is actually elevated and raised so I can work on assembling or disassembling the insert. So how do I do inserts? I made another, once again, fixture that holds the insert part here. This is the insert. This goes into the milling machine. Gets locked into the vise. The insert is held in that position, locked down with the clamp. Then I use a 30-degree milling cutter. This is sometimes called a burr, sometimes called a rotary file. It is carbide, and I'll just run it right along and back the edge of the insert. And because my fingers are really big and fat and the inserts are really small, what I've done is I've made a little magnetic holder which takes it out and grabs it for me. And I'll take that and turn it around. You can see the edge there. After I make that cut, I'll turn it around, put it back in the holder, lock it down, and again pass the 30-degree solid carbide burr back and forth. And that gives